The claimed Nuremberg Code looks to be pointless, in my opinion, and we know that it is based on absolute lies, as the Germans never did anything that they were accused of. So, why did the Jews come up with this nonsense, right? I mean, it's just about experimentation, supposedly, which at the end of the day isn't really that big of a deal. So, there has to be an ulterior motive, or were they just throwing the brainwashed a bone to make it look like they actually cared about it? And what's interesting here, right, because they're making it out like they're pretending that they care and that they think you shouldn't be experimented on. But it's interesting looking at the etymology of the word consent. It's not the way it is used anymore, right, by us dumbed down non-Jews, but what about the cunning Antichrist, right? It could or did mean, in a negative sense, yielding to sinful desire or connivance. And if you look at the word connivance, it means to be willfully blind or tolerant and shut one's eyes to something one does not like but cannot help. And it's the same as how they use the term novel, as in novel coronavirus. People think it means new, but in reality, it means fictitious, which means artificial, counterfeit, existing only in your imagination, which is what viruses and COVID are. They are only in people's imagination. They do not exist. They are a satanic delusion. So, um, but anyway, yeah. So, and you can see the Nuremberg Code. Why I brought these words up was because it says this document enunciates the requirement of voluntary informed consent of the human subject, right? So, so it's saying voluntary informed, being willfully blind or tolerant is really what it's telling you right there. So, or voluntary informed yielding to a sinful desire, or being willfully blind and tolerant, right? According to probably how the Jews are using it. So, yeah. So they're not actually, the code was not really meant to protect anybody or do anything. I mean, the whole tribunal was a joke. Wasn't legal, wasn't lawful, wasn't anything. So, and then you look at the other words, right? Human and subject, right? Because here it says voluntary informed consent of the human subject. And just interesting, and I don't know if it definitely means anything, but if you look at subject, it says person under control or dominion of another, right? So why do they have to use the word subject then, right? They're telling you you are under control, you are under dominion. So, and then you can see what else it means, right? Subject to another by force, which we are, right? By our Jew-run governments. And then the bottom one there, it says obedient, submissive, compliant, right? So you are an obedient human that are willfully being blind and tolerant to whatever they want to do to you. And then the word human, right? It says there in the middle, earthling, earthly being, right? As opposed to being, the way I take it, that's opposed to being made in the image of God, right? Humans, it says, refers to the entire species of Homo sapiens, which includes all living people. But I think it's different per the Bible. Not everybody is the same in the Bible, that's for sure. And the Bible is the foundation of all of our knowledge. And it says Adam kind meant the people from Adam, those who came from Adam, which is not everybody. And Adam was made in the image of God, and God breathed life, his life, into us. So I think there's a difference between a quote unquote human, which many of those who we see walking around are, and then those who are of Adam Khan. I'm sure a lot of people won't agree with that, but that's my opinion. So, um, but and remember, we have to remember that the people who run the show today, right? The Antichrist do not view one, they're not of God and they're not God's chosen. They are the complete opposite. And they view everyone else as animals, as beneath them. So, and that's why I think that they think they can do all this stuff that they're doing and make these stupid, fraudulent Nuremberg codes and come up with all these fake ideologies, the fake idea of viruses and COVID and whatnot, and just it's just Satan deceiving the world and everybody going along with it because they don't know any better at this point. So, but anyway, yep, just wanted to put that out there.